Oh my god, what's up guys, it's me, Theonemanny again, and we're back with another drunk, I'm already drunk. No, we're back with another Drunk Lore React video, where we drink if the lore we're listening to sounds stupid or doesn't make sense, because 99% of the lore in these video games and these movies and series, it doesn't make sense, and you don't know why is it like that? Why? So we drink alcohol to make it interesting, to make it make sense, and that's what we're gonna be doing today. Today's beverage is... what is this? $5 white wine. I'm officially a single mother. Let's get it. Okay, we're gonna be drinking some $5 white wine every time there is something absolutely stupid. Today's video, we are learning about the SCPs. I've been recommended to look at all the SCP stuff for at least like 2-3 weeks now by a few of the homies. So we're gonna start at the beginning by learning about SCP-1. Not a guy called Juan, just the first Juan.
If you've ever read the Book of Genesis...
I've never read the Book of Genesis. That is the most stupid thing. Nobody's done that. I'm drinking. Which
is the part of the Old Testament that details God creating the world and humanity during a particularly busy week.
It was pretty busy then.
And you might just be already familiar with SCP-001.
I don't think I am familiar.
Or at least one of the anomalies that's been proposed for the title of SCP-001. Because of course, SCP-001 doesn't refer to a single creature, object, or entity, but rather a collection of various anomalies contained by the SCP Foundation.
Well then it's not just one, it's like 1, 2, 3, and 4. Why didn't they just count further? That's just stupid. That deserves a wine drink. Ow! Oh, yeah, cheap wine really does, it's just horrible. It's just horrible.
Anomalies sharing the name SCP-001 include the infamous Scarlet King.
But wouldn't that be a separate one? Look at him. Look at the size of him. Also, why does he kind of look like one of those little bugs? He kind of looks like a little bug, but like he's big, so like a big bug.
A powerful eldritch being intent on ending all of creation that is thought by Foundation researchers to be one of the most dangerous beings in this and any other universe. But the Scarlet King isn't the only incredibly powerful being categorized as SCP-001. In fact, there are plenty of other anomalies with similar levels of destructive
Has he got eyeballs on his titties?
And one such being is a creature codenamed the Gate Guardian.
Are they arm wrestling?
Standing at well over 1,000 feet tall, the Gate Guardian is
okay, no, this is SCP-2, because he was found afterwards. Is that 2 naked people in a tree? What the heck? What the heck? Oh, that's one for the stupid.
Possible to be fully contained by any means that the Foundation possesses.
He has 1,000 feet. Got me bricked up on a, what day is it today?
The anomaly itself, despite its colossal size, is humanoid in its shape, sporting wings that protrude from its back.
That looks like a can of Fanta.
While it usually has 4 of these, SCP-001 has historically been seen to have any number of wings between 2 and 108, sprouting from various places over its body, including its shoulders, ankles.
I think that's just called feathers, man. I think if you have 100 wings on you, that's just feathers. Yeah, that's another drink for the sillies. Who wrote this? Who invented this?
Wrists, and even its temples. This gigantic guardian also carries its own weapon, referred to as SCP-001-2. This weapon resembles an enormous knife or sword, capable of emitting plumes of flame. According to tests conducted by the Foundation, the temperature of the flames produced by SCP-001 rival that of our very own sun.
Oh, that doesn't make sense, because if it rivaled the sun, the entire planet would just explode in a ball of flame around it, so that doesn't make sense. Oh god, I'm really downing this cheap wine like I'm a single mother that's just been swiped left on Tinder 2,000 times. Oh god, no new baby daddies for me.
For reference, the sun has a core temperature of over 27 million degrees Fahrenheit.
You just die.
And 5,778 Kelvin at its surface, or almost 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. You would expect a flaming sword that burns hotter than the sun to cause a considerable amount of damage, even if it wasn't in use. But the flames emitted by the weapon leave no lasting damage on the surrounding environment. It is capable, though, of annihilating anything that strays too close to SCP-001, burning them so intensely that their atoms literally separate, breaking potential attackers apart on a molecular level.
Okay.
Much as its codename suggests, the Gate Guardian stands solemnly at the threshold of some form of dimensional gateway, which is equally tall as SCP-001
Where does it go?
itself. Behind the Guardian is a lush grove, abundant with fruit trees of astronomical size, as well as other beings that share a similar appearance to SCP-001.
Okay.
This grove is thought to be the Garden of Eden, the paradise that God created and that was inhabited by Adam and Eve, the first two humans in existence, according to the book of Genesis. As the tale goes, the pair were created by God himself and permitted to live in the Garden of Eden as long as they followed a single rule. Adam and Eve were instructed not to eat any of the fruit that grew from certain trees.
They're really big, so why are the apples so small? Wouldn't they have really big apples to feed like the big Gate Guardian? I don't know.
Trees that God had specified. Within view just behind the Gate Guardian are two immense trees, one bearing apples and the other bearing different fruit of an unknown type. The one that looks like an apple tree is believed, even by some in the Foundation, to be the biblical tree of knowledge that Eve was convinced to pick a fateful apple from after an encounter with a snake. The other, the one with unidentifiable fruit, is thought to be
That's a blueberry. That's a blueberry. That's a blueberry.
Life.
Possibly
However,
a plum.
this is all speculation, since it is currently impossible to venture through this gateway and verify if the realm beyond is truly the Bible's own Garden of Eden. This is largely because anything that breaches a kilometer-wide radius of SCP-001 is instantly vaporized. The Gate Guardian attacks with imperceptible speed, using its flaming sword to smite any person that gets too close. The Guardian actually moves so fast that it can hardly be seen with the naked eye. It appears to always remain in its solemn, dutiful stance with its weapon drawn and head bowed, only shifting for a fraction of a nanosecond to attack. Ranged attacks against the Guardian are just as ineffective, with all projectiles fired at SCP-001 reduced to atoms before they can do any harm. Even
How about
if
a
said
bucket of
projectile
water?
happens to be a nuclear weapon, the Gate Guardian will be able to subatomically vaporize both the projectile itself as well as the person who sent it, regardless of how far away they are, all while not appearing to lift a finger. During an experiment involving SCP-001 on December 26, 2004, an SCP Foundation nuclear submarine called Nautilus launched a series of multi-warhead intercontinental ballistic missiles at the Gate Guardian. The retaliation from the Guardian resulted not only in the deaths of approximately 35,000 innocent civilians, but the blast is also believed by some to have inadvertently caused the 2004 Boxing Day tsunami. The severity of this incident came
Is that real? Was there a tsunami in 2004 on Boxing Day somewhere?
Dangerously close to revealing the Foundation's existence to the world, resulting in them rapidly deploying any means necessary to erase any trace of the 35,000 victims' families, friends, and other related individuals. In order to avoid questioning, the SCP Foundation administered amnestics on an almost worldwide scale, and the O5 Council banned any further tests on SCP-001 that involved nuclear weapons.
They just brainwiped everybody?
By the Foundation to be a test with lower stakes, they sent an expendable D-Class personnel towards SCP-001. The D-Class approached the area where the Gate Guardian is located, and as soon as they saw it, they could hear a very clear command in their mind: leave. The D-Class personnel reacted exactly the same way you or I would. They promptly turned and started to walk away. They didn't need a 1,000-foot-tall entity with a flaming sword to tell them twice. The researchers running the experiment were not swayed by the request and ordered the D-Class to continue moving towards SCP-001. When the D-Class continued to ignore their commands, they were terminated, as is standard policy when dealing with an insubordinate member of D-Class.
Damn, poor D-Class boys.
SCP-001 appeared not to like this for some reason, though, and the researcher site, as well as the researchers themselves, were immediately obliterated by an unknown force, though it's a pretty safe guess that a certain flaming weapon was responsible. This candidate for SCP-001 may be one of, if not the most powerful being that the SCP Foundation—
Wait, it said there was a load of them, and now it's saying that he's SCP-001, and also said that they were all in, like, doors and stuff. This guy's not in a door, he's just outside, in the garden.
Has ever encountered. And according to its entry in the SCP-001 file, The Guardian is even responsible for the creation of the Foundation itself. If the file is to be believed, the administrator of the SCP Foundation one day heard a word echoing through his head. Prepare. This one-word instruction led him to starting the SCP Foundation, containing countless dangerous anomalies and entities in preparation for an uncertain future. In all that time, since the very beginning—
Why would he blow up his own place if he told them to do it? This doesn't make any sense. Right. Oh my god, more alcoholic than your father.
Of the Foundation, the Gate Guardian has remained standing at its post. While it is not aggressive nor openly hostile towards humanity,
I think killing people is pretty hostile.
Doesn't seem to care much for us either, at least as individuals. It rarely interacts with human beings when left unprovoked. And venturing too close to the Guardian, however, is not an automatic death sentence. The Guardian first communicates with any living being approaching it via a telepathic message, instructing them to either leave or forget. If whomever has stepped too close to SCP-001 complies with the instructions, they'll be able to freely leave the area, while simultaneously forgetting every detail of the Gate Guardian's existence. Ignore these warnings though, and SCP-001 has no qualms about completely eliminating you from reality. Given its enormous destructive potential, it is no wonder that the Foundation has tried to use the Gate Guardian to eliminate other dangerous SCPs, each with varying results. The Foundation at one time even attempted to use the Gate Guardian to destroy the infamously indestructible SCP-682, better known by the appropriate name of the hard-to-destroy reptile.
Yeah, great name,
Due to the malicious contempt SCP-682 holds for human beings and all other forms of life, it is perhaps one of the most dangerous anomalies the SCP Foundation has in containment. SCP-682 is also one of the few creatures the Foundation actively wants to terminate, a task made that much harder given that 682 can regenerate its entire form from as little as a single cell. The Gate Guardian had already shown time and time again that it was capable of massive destruction, and researchers working for the Foundation hope to harness that power to rid the world of SCP-682 for good. 682 was placed on an unmanned vehicle and carried to within 1 kilometer of the Gate Guardian. The Guardian attacked the vehicle, seriously wounding but not killing 682. It seemed even the mighty SCP-001 couldn't kill the hard-to-destroy.
But it tears apart people's atoms!
While the researchers were disappointed with this result, it is worth noting that 682 made a very interesting comment to the Guardian. 682 mentioned that the Gate Guardian is not Uriel, but a pretender. Uriel is the archangel that some religious texts describe as the guardian standing at the gate of Eden with a fiery sword. So does this mean that 682 knows that the Gate Guardian is not actually an angel? Or that the location it is guarding isn't the Garden of Eden at all? Any truth or meaning behind these comments has, as of yet, been undetermined by the SCP Foundation. A later experiment involved both SCP-001 and SCP-073. The anomaly otherwise known as Cain. Cain is a male humanoid of possible Arabic descent whose arms, legs, spine, and shoulders are replaced in an almost cyborg-like fashion with beryllium bronze. Much like the Gate Guardian, SCP-073 may also be the same as the one mentioned in the Bible's book of Genesis, who, according to the biblical story, murdered his own brother Abel out of spite. As punishment for his actions, Cain was cursed to eternally suffer for his wrongdoing. In the case of SCP-073, any damage inflicted on him is deflected back to the attacker, but Cain is made to feel the pain of the attack. Any plants or plant-based matter withers and rots in his presence, and he is cursed with a perfect memory, keeping him forever haunted by his murder of Abel.
That's so sad,
When
kinda
Cain was brought before the Gate Guardian, an unknown incident occurred. The Foundation's records are heavily expunged, but we do know that somehow Cain's usual ability to deflect incoming damage back at his attacker had no effect on SCP-001. The encounter left SCP-073 unconscious and even permanently blinded nearby research personnel. It was as a direct result of this incident that the O5 Council demanded that no further experiments of any kind were to be conducted on SCP-001.
So
with
he's
the
just there.
administrator even filing an executive.
So he's just there now, in the middle of a forest, just hanging out forever, for no reason, and they can't do anything about it.
Order that no SCPs be exposed to the Guardian, and that SCP-001 was to never be used for the attempted termination of other SCPs. Of course, perhaps it wasn't just the mistakes of the past that made the Council decide that SCP-001 was best left alone. At some point, an erratic transmission was received from Site-0 by Foundation personnel, detailing an XK-class end-of-the-world scenario. In the transmission, the sender, believed to be another member of the SCP Foundation, described an event during which the Gate Guardian finally left its post, stepping away from the entrance to the Garden of Eden. SCP-001 has left its location, the sender wrote. The gate is open. They are riding forth. Oh God, it's so beautiful. The transmission then goes on to repeat various phrases including, "The Lord shall reign forever," and "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one." What can be inferred from the rambling transmission is that the event being described is the end of the world. Some believe that once God deems it time...
This doesn't make sense, bro. Why would he set up the Foundation and be nice to people if he's just gonna blow them up at some point? That's it.
Armies will lay waste to the earth in order to remake it as a paradise. When this occurs, SCP-001,
Where's there another one?
Gate Guardian, will open
Where's
the
there
gates
8 of them?
he stands in front of, allowing the other beings like it to emerge into our world, ready to cleanse it. Perhaps most interesting is the source of the message. The transmission was received from within the Foundation from Site-0. However, when questioned by personnel, 05-14 told them that no such message had been sent or even existed. While some disregarded the transmission telling of the end of the world as a hoax, it was then that a timestamp was discovered. This warning had not been sent from Site-0, at least not yet, and was dated several years in the future. Despite this ominous warning of things to come, the Gate Guardian remains inactive, standing at the threshold to Eden, waiting. Now check out SCP-001.
No, they should just leave the planet. I'm gonna be real. If soon as one of these things is discovered, they should leave the planet. Okay, that's freaky as hell. I'm not gonna lie, that opened up like 15 other videos that we have to now look at some point. But this was today's introduction to SCP stuff, which was actually pretty interesting. I was kind of into that video. This kind of makes me want to go and like look at another 20 of them in a row. I feel like I could probably watch like 50 of these videos and still be interested. This is very good. Yeah, we'll be back another time next week with more drunk lore. This one wasn't too stupid, but the rest of them can be pretty stupid, and thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and comment what kind of lore you want to see in the future, whether it be from games, series, videos, or whatever. We will take a look. Thank you for hanging out, and we'll see you next time.